Good to see you.
I'm Ray.
I'm Gary, and
Welcome
you are the
back.
Probate Heroes.
Yes, you are.
Episode 2 was a good one. I hope you saw it. If you didn't, you can go back and check it out. Ray just interviewed me.
Gave an
and-
overview on what probate is.
That's
and
right.
They can go check that one out.
Yep. If this is your first time catching us, you jumped in on episode 3. Maybe you should go back and catch episode 2. Episode 1 was really just you and I trying to figure out what we're going to talk
we're
about.
figuring out
on
what
this
we're
thing.
doing, what we're talking about, and I think we did an amazing job.
110 subscribers.
That's right.
Yeah.
We're making traction.
Yeah, it's picking up. So thank you everybody for checking in and tuning in to us. Today is going to be about prospecting and probate leads.
Yeah.
That's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to get into as much detail as we can. I'm sure there's going to be some things that you're going to need to see with your own eyes. Right? Like when we get into the petition.
Yeah.
And when I edit this thing, I'll just put up a petition.
Yeah.
So all of you can see what we're talking about. It makes it a little bit easier.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
But when you first start probate, you're looking for probate leads, where do you begin?
Well, there's obviously each county, right, has its public record. So when someone passes, it becomes public record. You can go straight to your courthouse in your county and you can get leads right there. Right?
Can you get them from the county website?
You can. Some counties have access online, which makes it a lot obviously easier. You're right there, you pull up the website. And then some counties you have to physically go to the courthouse. So there's plenty of options to do that, right?
Now what's the difference if you were to do that as opposed to just hiring a lead service? Because there's some good ones. We've used US Probate Leads, we've used all the leads, all good companies. They provide good data.
Right.
But what's the reason why?
I think there's a lot of different reasons why. I mean, obviously it's some people don't have time to do it. They want just leads popped into their email or whatnot. That is an option. You do pay for that. So there's a cost to that. When you are starting out, it's a good idea to at least know what you're looking for so you could actually go there to the courthouse and actually get those leads. So I would say somebody starting out new in probate, it would be a good idea or consideration to actually get familiar with your courthouse. If whatever county you're in, find out where that is. Is it online? Is it in person? And then you can physically go there and you can start pulling the lead. And then once you get that, you know what you're doing and you got the resource, got the experience, and if you choose to pay for it, you can do that as well.
Sure. Maybe when you're going to scale.
Yeah, absolutely. But for somebody that wants to add this to their business, it's a good idea for them to get familiar with what it is. Because again, there's always new leads every single week that an agent can go and get on their own, either online or physically going to the courthouse.
And my father used to always say when he was training this stuff, he would always say there's a lot of good online sources for probate leads, but it's in your best interest to learn how to source the leads yourself, just in case your probate lead source goes away. Maybe the guy retires or the company shuts down for whatever reason.
Right.
If that source is no more, you don't want to be sitting there without any leads. You want to be able to have the know-how, go to the courthouse yourself to get your own leads. And like what Ray said, free if you do it yourself. But most importantly, he nailed this, the know-how.
You want to get familiar with
getting yourself familiar with looking at a petition, understanding the information on a petition, what everything means on there. Because when you're having a conversation with a potential client, you want to be able to speak intelligently. And 95% of the conversation, of the information that we're talking about, is coming from that petition. Right.
And then also another layer you could probably add to this, you also want to double check when you get these sources, the property because sometimes where they were living isn't the actual home that that is going to be for sale. Maybe they were staying in
like a convalescent
home, exactly.
Assisted living.
So you always want to double check that as well. right? So,
And that's something that we do. So we do both. We source leads ourselves from the county. We have researchers that go to the counties either online or in person and give us the leads. And we also have an online source that provides us with leads
yes,
for 58 counties. We can't be everywhere, right?
right,
And every time those leads come in on Monday, before I send them out, I'm scrubbing those leads. That's my father's term. I'm making sure that the phone number is correct. I'm making sure that the property address is a real, the real address. I run the title search, make
right.
sure that it's the deceased name on there, make sure that it's not a
Right.
convalescent home or a rest home.
Well, and that's the key, right? It's a little bit of legwork up front, but it's you're learning how to look at a lead, what is a lead, scrubbing the lead. That way, when you're calling the estate, you already know exactly what's going on. And then you're not talking about a property that they were living in a convalescent home. Oh, is 123 Main Street for sale? That's where my dad.
Yeah, that was the hospice.
That was the hospital. What
Your
are you talking about?
credibility just crumbles.
Yes.
You know.
So again, you want to get familiar with what it is you're looking at.
So speaking of the petition and being familiar with what we're looking at, what are some of the specific details from the petition that we are looking for that that creates a lead? What is the info that we're looking to pull?
Well, obviously you're looking for one who's in charge of the estate. You want to match the PR, right? The personal representative. Is that number correct? Do they have a phone number? You also want to look at the deceased estate, that property. Is it a valid property where they were staying? So you're scrubbing that. You're saying, okay, 123 Main Street, that was where they were staying. You match that up with the tax records. It all matches, it aligns. And then obviously you want to make sure numbers are correct. And
you want to make sure that you identify the PR's court date.
Right.
That'll be on the front page of the petition. That the court date is where the petitioner, the personal representative, goes to their first hearing to be approved as either the administrator or the executive.
That's right.
And that's another thing that you'll learn from the petition if they are going to be appointed as the administrator or the executor. You don't want to call somebody and say, hey, when you're appointed as the executor, I'm not the executor,
right.
I'm the administrator. You just want to make sure that you're speaking from a place of knowing. You want to know what you're talking about, obviously.
Right. And that's all on
all on the petition. Mm-hmm. You want to know if it's full authority or limited authority.
Right. And as we spoke about last episode, right, the limited authority is something that you can do, but it's just going to be a little bit longer process.
It's not a bad situation if you are listing the property, right? Because you're the listing agent. Whoever's the potential buyer, they have to go through that whole dog pony show with the court process, right? The only thing that you have to keep in mind if you're listing a property that's under limited authority is at any time the court can change your commission.
Right.
At any time. So it doesn't matter what you agree about initially with the estate, that could be changed later.
Right.
So I always look for that first when I'm looking at a petition. Is it full or limited authority? If it's full authority, I continue gathering information. I want to know the court date, the attorney info, the deceased, if there's a bond or not. I check the property address. On page 4 of the petition, I check and see how many heirs there are, right? Because when you're handling an estate and probate, you're dealing with everybody.
Right.
It's not just, you don't have just one client. You have one decision maker.
Right.
But you're dealing with everybody. And when I do conference calls with my clients, I'm talking to all the heirs.
Right. Make sure everyone's on the same page. If they aren't, let's have that conversation.
Let's have that conversation now. I open up the conference calls to all the heirs who want to participate. Right. If none of them do, and they just want the administrator to handle it all, fine. But I'm opening up the conversation to all the heirs.
Well, and that's a good thing because you're also getting preparation on the notice of proposed action. The NOPA, is anybody going to contest to the sale? And you kind of get that gauge when you do that conference call.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Right? 100%. My sister, everyone's on board. Oh, you know what, Cousin Billy, he's fighting us and he doesn't want, okay, let's get him on
Cousin Billy, you there?
Yeah. Cousin Billy. Yeah. So we want to get all that information, right?
Right.
So we know what we're getting into. We know how to address and how to maneuver.
Right. So to break down the petition really quick for the viewer And right about now, the petition is going to fly up on the screen.
Okay.
So when you're going through the petition, up in the top left, you're going to see the information for the attorney. You're going to need that information because at some point when you have a ratified sales contract, you don't need to send them the listing contract. You just need to send them the ratified purchase contract. So you got to have the attorney's info.
Now, if there's no attorney, pro per.
That's called pro per.
Which they can still do.
Yeah. And how you handle pro per may be different from how we handle pro per. We have affiliates and relationships with paralegals and attorneys who work directly with us. So when for example, the other client we picked up today with the property in Stockton, he's pro per.
Right. No attorney.
All kinds of problems going on with his probate. He has a lot of probate notes that need to be cleared before his continued. He received what's called a continuance. So he went to his first approval hearing. Things were all messed up with his paperwork. So he received a continuance.
Push the court date out.
Push it out. Go fix these issues. Come back with everything correct. And then we'll see if you're ready to be approved as the administrator.
And that's where we're helping him with that process. We're not attorneys.
No. But we have paralegals and attorneys that work with us that we can turn this guy onto, and they'll get in there and they'll clear up all of the
help him with the paperwork,
notes.
what he needs, what he needs to fill out. That way, when he goes to court, everything's dialed in.
Everything's dialed in. So this new client, he feels so much better now because 17 days from now, he's going to be at court again, but all of his paperwork is going to be clean. All of his notes will be cleared. He's going to be approved. And he's just trying to get this house sold and get it over with. He's got too much going on. So talking to us today was a breath of fresh air. It made his day. Because he's been having nothing but trouble with this probate process. And finally, he has someone to step in who's going to be able to fix it.
Well, I mean, he was at the point where he said, I was looking at YouTube trying to figure this out. You know, we said, well, wait a minute, we could help you. And that's what we're doing. Right, with that. So proper. So as they're looking at the sheet, so you got the attorney information.
And then below that, it's going to show who the deceased is. Obviously, you need that info. You need the file, the case file number. Okay, that'll be on the front page as well. The court date for the administrator or executor. It's going to tell you if it's full or limited authority on the front page. It'll tell you if there's a bond or not on the front page.
Now, a bond, just so real quick, what specifically when you say a bond?
A bond is protection for really the estate value. So if the petitioner is out of state, most of the time, almost every time, they're going to issue a bond. If there's other issues involved, if there's already fighting going on amongst the family, an attorney might request for there to be a bond. I've even come across situations where the personal representative, had just got released out of prison, had a criminal record. Not saying he was a bad guy. I met the guy. He just had some things in his past that caught up to him. Things like that could potentially warrant a bond. There's a lot of different reasons why either an attorney or the court will issue a bond. But then how that works is the bond usually is around the same amount as some value of the estate. And then the petitioner is going to have to go and get 10% of that amount, the bond. To be able to receive those certified letters. They could go and get approved for their certified letters without putting the bond in place. The court won't issue the certified letters until that bond's put in.
Got it. Okay.
So the reason why I look to see if there's a bond is I like to talk right up front with my potential clients that, hey, your court date's coming up in 2 weeks. You have a bond for $300,000. Do you have the cash to put up the bond? Most of the time they do. Sometimes they don't. Right? And this is where they kind of can hit a wall. We're able to offer them a solution by saying, hey, we can help, we can front that money for you. Get the bond taken care of for you. As long as we're handling the sale of the property, we'll recoup that money back, no extra charge. And then that just adds more solutions to the estate. It's you the opportunity to lock down more deals.
Absolutely. So as they're looking at this sheet, and then anything else they need to kind of...
So at the very bottom of the sheet is where the property address is, right? Very, very bottom. And right above that, there'll be a box checked if the deceased is a resident of the county that they passed in.
Mm.
Because sometimes when, our grandparents or our parents are getting older, maybe we move them in with us, right? And their house is either rented or a niece or a nephew moves into the house, right? And then the loved one passes away at your house, or maybe you took them to the hospital or something like that. So they all, and maybe you don't live in the same county. So that'll be checked there. Or maybe they live out of state.
Right.
So that just will give me information. Is the house potentially vacant? If I see that the box is checked, that the deceased died in a different county or something like that, I'll ask the question, hey, is the home vacant?
Right.
And the reason why I ask the home vacant, because we have a service that takes care of properties that are vacant.
Right.
Or I'll ask, is there a family member living?
Right. There's somebody even living there,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Taking care of the home.
It just, knowing the information off of the front page of the petition just gives you more talking points.
And this is all free information that they can get from the
public record.
It's public record.
Yeah,
Perfect.
So back to the petition.
Yep.
When you're sourcing leads, you only need 3 pages off the petition for probate. The petition for probate is 4 pages. You only need 3. So the first page we just covered, it's all that pertinent information, right? It's stuff that you need to know, not only for your tracking sheet, but you need it for your conversation, right? Page 2 is going to give you the estimated gross fair market value of the real estate. Okay, you want to know that. And then page 3, you don't really need anything. Page 4 lists all the heirs, including mailing addresses. So that's where you get the mailing address for the personal representative. But then where do you get the phone number?
Well, the phone number should be on there.
The phone number is on the duties and liabilities. So when someone first starts probate, they file a petition for probate and they file what's called duties and responsibilities. These are the duties and responsibilities of the personal representative.
Right.
And at the very bottom on page 2, or the backside of the duties and liabilities. I said responsibility. Duties and liabilities. On page 2 at the bottom is the contact information for the personal representative.
And that's the person you're reaching out to.
Yeah. And one thing that I learned over my time doing this is the address listed on the petition for the personal representative doesn't always match the address that is on the duties and liabilities. I don't know if they're trying to throw the scent off of people like us or what, but the duties and liabilities document will give you the accurate information of a phone number and their actual living address.
Right. And that's, like you mentioned, that's who we'll be reaching out to.
That's who we're contacting.
Correct. Okay,
Yeah.
Awesome.
So I mentioned the tracking sheet. Can you explain how we track our lead?
Yeah, so the tracking sheet is just another layer that we're doing with scrubbing.
Should I put one up on the screen?
Yeah, put one up so you can see the tracking sheet. That's basically giving who the deceased is, the file number, right? We need the file number. We need the estate address, and then we need the personal representative address, because that's, if you're doing mailers, that's who you're mailing the letters or whatnot to the personal representative. And then also it's spelling out, are they the administrator or the executor? So it kind of gives your information in a basically
one
key points.
One
sheet. It's a tracking sheet. They'll show you right here. And then that's what you're doing. Those are what you're working off your lead.
And another valuable thing about the tracking sheets, which we have a couple right here, these are the ones that we were calling earlier today, is, for example, when Ray got here today, we had a couple of phone calls to make. He didn't have to go fishing around his phone or his computer or anything like that.
Right.
It's all right here. It's one sheet. It's all right here. I was able to find the file number for the client who does not have an attorney. I was able to log in. I was able to check his file. I was able to see that he received the continuance, see his probate notes, understand what needs to be cleared up, talk to him about what needs to be cleared up and how we can help him. So it just keeps everything organized in one place for you, easier to get to.
It also has the court date, has the attorney's information and all that stuff.
Yeah. So
just in a good overview.
Now we have all the leads, right? We have them on tracking sheet. What is the marketing approach, prospecting approach, mindset that goes into this? What is your MO? Your mode of operation.
Yep.
Well, when you start.
So there's a lot of different ways, right? You can reach out to the estate. What I'm doing is you can do mailers. Mailers is just another layer. And a lot of probate people that are agents that are prospect, they're getting a lot of mailers, right?
Right.
When you're picking up the phone and you're calling them, that's another layer, right? It's another touch. And the mindset, right? You have to step back for a second because you also have to realize that who you're calling, they just lost a loved one, right? Whether a mom, a dad, sibling, what have you. So it's obviously having the compassion when you're making these calls. And when you are making these calls, it's offering your condolences. I'm here to help, just giving you a quick call. And they're going to feel that energy if you are trying to help. Because a lot of agents that are calling, they want to list the property. We don't want to list the property if they don't want to sell it. We want to basically help them get to navigate through this process. So when you're coming with that mindset of how can I help them, how can I serve them, that's what's going to get you that extra layer to keep that dialogue conversation going. And when you do have a good conversation, you always want to set up the next phone call, right? You don't want to leave with, okay, well, we'll talk. You want to set that next phone call up because you want to stay in touch. You want to help them through the process, find out everything that's going on. What are they looking to do? All that stuff, kind of what we've been talking about.
Yeah.
And then at that point, if you did have a good conversation, I always go the extra step. And this is what I think has been helping us, is just be out the door, knock at the door, because then that lets them see who you are, the professional you're to help. It just adds that extra layer. So it's a little more legwork up front, but that's what we're here to do. We're here to help them.
That's our job.
That's our job.
Yeah,
correct.
Got to do our job. So for the viewers who are now getting fired up and they want to start making phone calls, right? What are some things that agents should avoid doing or saying during these initial conversations?
Well,
what should they avoid?
Well, they should avoid even talking about listing the property whatsoever, because this direct conversation for the first call, it's not even about that. It's about, obviously, like I said a second ago, it's your condolences, right? I'm sorry, my condolences. I'm here to help. This is what we do and what's going on. And then you get them tell you the story of what's going on, right? And they're going to tell you, no, we're not selling the property. We want to keep it. That's great, right? We would love to help you. What's going on with that? And if they do have an attorney, you'll see that. If they don't, pro per, a lot of times they need help navigating through the paperwork, and that's another service we could offer. And there's no charge for that. Right? We don't charge for that.
That was what that gentleman said to us today. He was like, that makes me a little skeptical. I was like, hey, I understand. I completely understand. I go, nothing's for free. I said, but we include this additional service of helping you get through probate, start to finish. We'll pick it up right where you are now, and help you all the way to the end. We get paid when we sell the property. Right.
If they do, and if they don't, that's fine, because again, we're making calls each and every day, and I think for our business, we're in here to help people, and they're going to feel that. And if we don't get this business from them, that's fine. We would hope that we did a great service, that they would refer us business.
I'm looking to get a no answer. Because these people don't know me. They don't know me. They don't know me. So they're less inclined to answer yes to my question.
Right.
But if I change the way I'm asking the question so a no is still a yes, they're more inclined to answer the question honestly.
Yeah.
Is now a bad time for you to talk?
Oh, that's a great point. I mean, off the bat.
And just right off the bat. And then just like you, I never end a phone call without setting up another point of contact.
You always want to set the next call up or the next appointment up.
Like for these two today that we got, first thing that we said was, can we see the property? I'm going to be out there on Monday.
Well, we are.
Would love to drive by, take a look at the property. If someone's there that can give me access to the interior, great. If not, we can cross that bridge another time.
Right.
I just wanted to get into his mind that we're going to be there.
Right.
Because guess what? Next time we call, he's going to want to talk to us because he knew that we were at the property.
Right. We're actually making an attempt. We're doing legwork, and we're getting information that he needs.
Yeah. So he's we're going to talk to him Monday evening. He's going to answer, and we're going to pick up the conversation. And from what I can already tell, we're going to have a listing contract signed Monday.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Yep.
So even though he's not officially approved yet, there's ways that we are still able to get our paperwork signed.
Yes.
That's a whole other podcast.
Yeah, that's a whole nother one.
And then the Sonoma property, same thing. We were getting off the phone call. Ray scheduled the appointment to go see the property in person on Monday.
Yep.
She was open to it. She's going to be there. We're going to meet her at the property. We're going to see the property. We're going to be able to give her a valuation. And we're going to be able to get that contract signed as well.
Yep.
If she wasn't available for us to go see the property, he would have just shifted gears and scheduled another phone call.
That's right.
We're never getting off the call as a dead call.
Right. You always want to set up the next call, appointment, or what have you. Yeah.
And you talk about the different options that we're bringing to the state. Because I heard it live. There was not any one time where Ray or myself said to any of these clients this morning, here's exactly what you should do. Ray simply asked, well, what is it that you are trying to do? What is your end goal? What is it you want?
Right.
And our client started talking, and then Ray just laid out the option. So why don't you lay out the option for our viewers so they get an idea of where we're coming from.
So you got the off-market cash, right, as what this estate wants. If they want to put it on the open market, maybe that cash offer saying, well, can we get maybe more? Maybe I feel just no problem. We can put it on the market as is. So you got off-market cash, you got on-market cash. And then if they want to fix the property up, right, that's an option where we can put it on the market and see what that value brings, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So again, you just want to lay out what the estate wants to do and then give them those options, right? And we have all those options, right? And then you have people that would, maybe there's an investor that is not looking to flip the property, but looking to purchase it as a rental so they can pay a little bit more. They have that option, right? So there's different investors with different criteria that will buy the property as is. Maybe one investor will pay more than the other. And again, we have all those different options for them.
And what typically ends up happening is when a client, for example, like Sonoma, just wants to be done with it.
Yeah, they just want to be done and move on.
And we talk about the cash offer option.
Right.
It always comes up, well, what if we just sell on the market as is and expose it to more cash buyers? Well, that is an option. But the difference is if we sell it on market, the estate's going to be paying a commission.
Right.
Now, you might only be paying us a commission, and maybe the investor's paying their agent a commission. Maybe you have to pay both.
Right.
It's all negotiable when you're on the market. If we sell it off market to one of our investors, the estate pays no commission.
It's a true net offer.
It's a true net offer.
Investors pay our fee.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the what we've advised them. If we're bringing you properties that are off market, we're not going to charge the estate. You're going to pay the fees.
Exactly. And at the end of the day, when you compare estimated seller net sheets, offers from our clients with our clients paying all of the fees compared to a on-market investor's deal and their estimated net sheet, ours ends up netting the estate more money.
Right, because it's a true net off.
Right. There's no fees or commissions or anything coming out.
Right. So again, you just lay out the options for the estate and they'll tell you which direction they want to go. And then at that point, you start going that direction.
Right. Yep. So now that we've been talking so much about engaging the client, how do you handle the follow-up? So is it just you're scheduling follow-up phone calls? Is there, I know what I do. I'll explain what I do in a minute, but explain to the viewers how you handle the follow-up. Fortune's in the follow-up and he's got it down pat. So you got to hear from him how he handles his follow-up.
Well, I mean, again, a lot of this, probate 90+% of this business, of you getting the business, is in the follow-up. And for me, there's a lot of different ways you can do this. There's software you could pop up on your computer, hey, call this person. And on my regular real estate business, I typically have that follow-up calls, call in 3 months, or what have you. And then I have all my notes. So when I'm making those calls, I know what I'm talking about when I do call. With probates, for me, I'm a little more old school, as we talked about the tracking sheet. So I'm printing those out. I have the tracking sheet in front of me, and then I'm making notes on them. And so on the backside, there's just tons of notes. So I'm talking about what we talked about, the errors involved, what they're looking to do. And then when I am making that next call, I'm putting it right there in black and white. And then for me, I have my folders. I have my August, September, my October. I have my hot lead file, and then I have my follow-up file. So for me, I just like to physically see it, so I know when I get into my office, I know, okay, I go to my follow-up file, and I open it, and then I have right there in black and white who I need to call. Call this person Tuesday at 2 p.m., call that person Wednesday at 4 p.m. And so I'm just making notes, and then I am following up. So each time I am having that conversation, it's always when the next call is, or if I'm going to be out there, because when we go door knocking, I'll pull out the leads that I've been calling that are in that area, and then I'll go knock those doors. So that's another cut that I could do.
And that's big.
Yeah.
If you're afraid of door knocking, or if you've never done it, or if you feel a little standoffish about it, don't.
No,
Ray is 100% right that once you show up in person,
yeah,
it really does make a big difference. It makes
does.
you a real person.
Well,
and they get to see you, and they kind of feel your energy.
Mm-hmm.
It sticks with them.
Yeah,
because no one else is doing that.
No, very few are consistent at it. Like I mentioned before, when you have these great conversations with these estates, you should put it in your schedule to be out there door knocking that week at the minimum. That way you could see them in person, they could see you, you can give them something of value, letting them know, thank you so much for your time. I was in the area, I wanted to give you this, and I'll be following up with you, right? And so it's just another layer, but this is what this business is about. If you work the system, the calls, the follow-up, the letters, the texts, the door knocking, it's just going to add more consistency that you will be getting this type of business.
Yeah, and I'll piggyback on that.
Mm-hmm.
We do things very, very similar. I use a little bit more technology in my follow-up.
Right.
So
and I'm trying to get
yeah,
you're dialed in.
It took me a while to really get all of these things working, but you probably already know that we're EXP agents, but EXP provides us with some pretty incredible tools, and I use those.
Yeah, you do utilize them.
And the way I utilize them, so we have our CRM is KV Core.
Yep.
And the way that I utilize KV Core for my probate business is after I have a good conversation with somebody, I'll plug them into my KV Core CRM, and I already have my follow-up campaigns, text and email, already created.
Yeah.
So after I talk to them, they already know. I've already told them when I'm ending the phone call, you know, I'm going to talk to you again on Tuesday. I'm going to send you a text message with a link to some additional information.
Mm-hmm.
Be on the lookout for it. So they're already aware of it. And then I plug them into my CRM. And then a few days after our initial phone call, they'll get a text message from me. Mm-hmm. And what I include in that text message is that link to our resource guide.
Right.
And then a few days later, they'll get another text message from me with a link to a video where on the video, I'm explaining different segments of that resource guide in further detail. And then the next message, which is a week later, I'm breaking down another part of that resource guide. And I just keep touching on them and just providing value giving them information that they may need if they decide to sell the home.
Correct.
Right? They can opt out at any time.
Absolutely.
And then around all of that, they get postcards, they get letters. It's just additional touches. And then, of course, the door knock. So I do the exact same thing that Ray does. I just integrated a little bit of technology in there as well.
Correct.
Mainly because I really want them to feel my energy.
Yeah, yeah.
I,
There for them.
I want
You're
them to
providing
know,
value.
like I'm providing a ton of value.
Absolutely.
I'm never asking for the business through a video or through a text message. The text messages that I send, I used to do it up front. It would be like a cold text. I've stopped doing it. Now I'm calling, offering help, not soliciting. I'm calling and offering assistance and help and guidance on the probate real estate side.
Yep.
And then following up that phone call with more information.
Yeah.
That's free, no obligation, just to help.
Yep.
And all that's doing is it's cementing in their subconscious mind that this person who I spoke to, I can't remember his name. Oh no, it's this guy. Yo, let me click on his link. Yeah, this guy.
Yeah.
He's the guy that's been providing me all the value.
Probate hero I need to talk to.
That's that right there. That's probate hero.
That's right. And all these, well, I say all these viewers, but these viewers, right, they have access to all of it.
All of it.
They could do this, and we're just sharing what we do, and this is all information that you guys can do as well.
Yeah, for sure. You can always visit dfprobatesystem.com.
Put the link on the.
I'll pop the link up on the screen, and it'll be in the show notes. You can go there and learn a little bit more about additional training if you wanted to get involved working with Ray and I and our team. If you wanted access to my father's probate book, that's there.
Yep.
We have supplemental docs, which covers those documents that we were talking about in the second episode. Certified letters, the NOPA, the federal tax statement letter.
Yep.
We have prospecting scripts on there.
Yep.
Objection handlers are on there. Sample letters are on there. So there's a ton of information that's there. I recommend you go to the website, you kind of browse around a little bit and check it out.
Check it out. Absolutely.
Yeah. But to kind of get close to wrapping this thing up here, just lastly, and I think this is a big one, and I think everybody already feels this already, but just so we cover it, talk about the importance of having patience and consistency.
Oh, yeah.
While you're working in probate.
Well, I mean, you hit it on the nail. It is patience and it is consistency. And like we talked about first episode with Crazy Greg, I was calling him since May. Never even heard from him. So there was the consistency of calling, the consistency of emailing, even though I wasn't hearing from him, but it was still me reaching out. And then patience, right? I didn't know if he was going to text, call, or what. And we get a text out of
He never told you to stop texting him or calling him.
No, and that's the thing. If somebody does say stop or I'm not interested, that's it. You move on to the next. Because there's an abundance of leads. Yeah. You have to work these leads consistency and have patience. Because again, they're grieving. They don't know what they're going to do. There's a lot of errors involved. There's a lot of conversations still need to be had. And it's who's going to be there when they are ready. And that's the consistency of the texts, of the calls, of the postcards, and then the patience. Because again, if you're doing this business, you're not just talking to one person and praying and hoping they call. You're talking to so many different people. So you have different lines of communications out there. Because again, this person that you talked to may not be ready until 6 months down the road, 3 months, 2 months, a month. This person may be ready now. This person doesn't want to sell, but it's the consistency and the patience. And if you have that and you're consistent with it, business is there.
Yeah, the business isn't going to go anywhere.
It's not going anywhere.
And
it's just more's coming in.
More continuously.
Yeah.
And the thing that I would like to add to what you just said is the reason why patience and consistency is so important.
Yeah.
Is when you're contacting probate leads, their head is not in the real estate space.
No, they're grieving.
They're taking on probate, and maybe they're dealing with their attorney who's sending them all these documents that they have to fill out and sign, and they got to track down other family members that maybe been estranged or they haven't talked to in a while. They got all this other stuff on their plate at the same time. They know about the house, but they're not thinking about it.
No,
not sometimes. Sure they are. Absolutely. Okay. Our gal with the Manteca property, she was like ready to go. She knew it from day one what she was doing. The patience and the consistency is tethered to the fact that we have to understand the mindset of the client is they're not willingly involved in the real estate market.
Right.
We have to have other types of conversations and show and demonstrate our value to establish us in their mind as the person, their go-to person.
You said it on the other episode. You want to be a show me agent.
Yeah.
Gotta tell me, show me, and you need to provide value, and you're going to provide value by speaking. How you demonstrated what you're actually talking about, what letters and this and that. So when you're talking that probate as the probate hero expert, they're going to feel that. So that you have to provide the value, and don't even talk about listed property because that's the last thing on their mind.
I mean, the only time I'm talking about the property or real estate type of stuff on the first initial phone call is only if they bring it.
That's right. That's right.
That's it. Like the Sonoma property today, she brought up, how much do you think the property will be? Just give me a ballpark number. Yep. She brought that up.
She brought it up. Yep.
And just food for thought here. Never give a ballpark estimate over the phone without seeing the property.
Yeah. You have to do your due diligence.
You have to, real professional price opinion. You got to go see the property. Yeah. I know you know that. I just needed to say that.
Yeah.
And when you tell a potential client that, guess what? Your stock goes up because they look at you as more of a professional.
Right. I mean, that's the truth. You have to see the property.
Right. You have to.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got to go see the property. So,
okay.
That's where we are. I think that might be it for today.
Yeah. Great overview on everything. And again, if they have questions, bring them in. We'd love to answer
I guess
them.
Before we go, since this episode is on prospecting and marketing, let me just run down for the viewers, now that there's 110 of them, let me just run down for the viewers the actual system.
Yeah.
So leads come in. I scrub the leads, make sure that we have all real valid contact. Then letters get issued. I use mail merge. Letters get sent out. I wait a day after the letters get sent out. Then I start making phone calls. After I make a phone call and I've had a good conversation with somebody, they go into my text and email campaign. Once they go into the text and email campaign, the postcard cycle starts going. So yeah, they might get a text message 3 or 4 or 5 days after our first phone call. But in between there, they receive that letter. In between the next call, they receive a postcard. In between the next text message, they receive another postcard. In between the next text message, we're at the front door knocking on the door.
Right.
So the way that the system is set up is it's multiple different touches.
Yeah.
And it's happening in a way, and the timing is set up in a way where it doesn't feel like you're overwhelming them.
Right.
You're providing a tremendous amount of value.
Yeah. And they want that.
They want that.
They want that.
Everything we're sending out is something that they could use at that.
It's informative.
Yeah. At this time before they're approved, it's giving them valuable information that I can't say guarantee, but I just did. They're not thinking about it right now.
No, they're not. I mean, again, they're grieving.
Yeah.
They're just wondering what the heck's going on. What do we do? And we're just there providing valuable
not only are they
information.
grieving, they're dealing with a very, very complicated process.
Yes, correct.
That is extremely foreign to most people.
Well, and that's like the gentleman we're in Stockton, right? He was looking at YouTube trying to figure this out. Doesn't have an attorney. And then we're calling him and talking to him, and now we have that conversation going, and we're helping him through the process.
And he had no idea.
He had no idea. He had no idea.
He had no idea that there are guys out there like us,
right,
who can actually help him through the probate side of it.
Right.
We told him straight up, we're not attorneys, but we've been doing this long enough that we do know what's right and what's wrong. We do know how to fill out a petition. We do know what the court's looking for.
Yep.
And we have paralegals and attorneys that work directly with us who will make sure that everything is done correctly.
Yeah, absolutely.
At no additional charge.
Right.
He wasn't sure. He thought that was a little skeptical.
He did. He was sizing us up. But
and I agreed with him.
Yeah, as he should.
But I told him, we do get paid, but we get paid when the real estate sells.
Right.
That's how we get paid.
That's right.
And we'll take care of the person who was helping you clear up your probate.
Absolutely.
And he liked that. He thought that was a good.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now there's another client.
That was another client.
So I think we covered it all today.
I think we did. Yeah, it was great. Great job. Great
Yeah,
episode.
you too,
and
man.
Again, if they have questions, bring them in. Hit the subscribe button.
Yeah, if you're not subscribed yet, join the movement.
Join the movement because you're
right.
the probate hero.
Hey, can I add a little plug?
Yeah.
Quick little plug.
Let's do it.
Well, I already mentioned the diamond farming website, dfprobatesystem.com. So those materials aren't free. Okay, they do cost some money.
Yep.
And there's a couple different ways.
That's your coaching aspect.
That's the coaching side of it.
Right.
Okay, and you get all, whether you just purchase the materials outright, which you can do, you're on your own.
Right.
The materials don't come with any leads. It doesn't come with any of our marketing.
Right.
Nothing like that. It's just all the information that you're going to need to get you through understanding how to conduct these calls and understanding probate A to Z.
Yeah.
But it will give you scripts. It will give you objection handlers. Yeah. It'll give you my father's book. It'll give you webinars and videos that coincide with the book.
Yeah.
So, hey, if you can take all that material and go and do deals, more power to you.
Absolutely.
I hope you do.
Yes, absolutely.
Then there's other options where you can actually pay a little bit more and be coached and work directly with us and our other executive team members and really help you dig in to your probate business and get you set up and start having success quickly.
Yeah.
And then the last thing is maybe you're sitting there and aside from probate and aside from this podcast, maybe you've been considering joining EXP.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe. But we have an option where if you're already considering joining EXP, but now you're also thinking about adding probate real estate to your business, you can partner directly with us. You'll get my father's book, all the videos, all the scripts, objection handlers.
Everything.
We'll provide leads to you, marketing to you. We'll provide you with the marketing that we use, help you set up your campaigns, text, email campaigns, help you set it all up for free, for no money. Right? You're just going to join and partner up with our group exclusively.
That's right.
And we're going to work hand in hand with you. So you have options if you really want to take this to the next level.
And again, this is just another layer to your business. As you see and what we've been explaining, there's an abundance of business out there. So if you're looking to add this or what have you, you should be at least getting one deal a month.
At least.
At least. I mean, that's, I don't want to say guarantee, but it's almost guaranteed.
But you need to be working that guarantee. You got to be working that.
You got to be working the system.
Yeah.
If you're working the system, you will get a deal. I mean, I can guarantee you that 100%. So
I back that.
Yeah. So they have options. So if you're looking into EXP, feel free to reach out. We'd love to chat with you.
And it might not be us.
It might not
you
be
might
us.
be watching this and maybe you find someone else who teaches and coaches probate.
Yeah.
Maybe you fit their style better. That's all good. I got no problem with that.
Yeah.
Right? All I want to see is I want to see more agents like you adding probate to your business because this is going to give you something that I already said, scalable, repeatable, dependable. Okay, what else? What other form of leads in real estate are so dependable that no matter what's going on, if the, excuse my language, if the shit hits the fan, you have a source of business that you can go to and you can really start grinding.
No, there's not
right?
a lot. No.
So I'm just trying to help out our fellow agents.
Absolutely. That's why we're doing it.
All right. So with that,
until next time,
I'm Gary.
I'm Ray.
These are the Probate Hero Collective. We'll see you on the next episode.
See you on the next one.
Subscribe.
Subscribe.
See ya.